Hello, welcome. Tonight, participants at the Leadership Summit asked Nigerian leaders to put the people first and at the center of their decisions if the nation must develop. And Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo inaugurates ABGA's Governorship Campaign Council ahead of the November 8th election. A new Nigeria People's Party expels a lawmaker representing Kiru Bebeji constituency, Abdulmumin Jubril, for alleged anti-party activities. And South Korea's government holds emergency meeting after citizens were detained in a U.S. Hyundai factory raid.
In on business, Saudi Arabia eyes further hike in OPEC crude output as 8 members of the oil producers cartel prepare to meet on Sunday.
And on sports news tonight, Nigeria Super Eagles hope of qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. They keep it alive with a 1-0 victory over the Wasps of Rwanda.
Nigerian leaders are being urged to put the people first and at the center of their decisions if the nation must develop and advance. This was the submission of speakers at the second day of a national leadership conference in Abuja aimed at building transformational leaders. Our correspondent, Dele Amoyani, reports.
It's the concluding day of the National Leadership Conference, put together by the Guardians of the Nation's Leadership Center, bringing together Nigerians from all walks of life to hone their leadership skills.
I would have arrested you today.
Speakers from both the public and private sector urge leaders at all levels to put the people first in their decision-making.
They can't make any mistake. Because I make sure that I bring out the goodness. I tell them that by the time I finish with you, everybody will pray to have a child like you. Because for them to be good team players, they must be the best versions of themselves. You can't be the weakest link. And that's why I would like to tell us now, as Nigerians, that we cannot be the weakest link. Every country you go, you fit in perfectly. You don't have to know anybody. We owe it to the rest of the world to build an emerging country, a Nigeria of our dreams, so that when people come in, they can go and get to any school. Trust me, Mr. President will not be the only one to do it. It takes me, it takes you, it takes everybody.
The team that is working with you, never allow them, never neglect them. Your team is your backbone. My team today, they are my backbone. They are with me. We are together. I told one of them, I said, look, today Elvis is a billionaire. We are all billionaires together. And they know they are all billionaires. The team, we are all billionaires together, and we'll keep building what we want to build. Once people get to leadership position, instead of focusing on pioneering change and revolutionizing that space, they are drunken in their status. They are drunken in the specs of office. They are drunken in the power of office. Service over status. A mind engineering that tells you that this position that I am occupying, what responsibility does it give me for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of the society, and not what privileges does it give to me.
The founder of Guardians of the Nation Leadership Center reiterates his commitment to scaling up the platform.
What you have become in the context of how you have treated people around you. That's where emotional intelligence, that's where executive intelligence comes in. If you connect the both, because you have compassion with people. All transformational leaders around the world that have done great things, they didn't move people by force. They didn't move followers by manipulation. They moved followers by simply what they have become.
Participants are expected to put to use the leadership skills gathered at the conference in their endeavors. Dele Amoyani, Channels Television News.
And still talking political leadership, the former Lagos State governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Mr. Gbadebo Rhodes Vivers, defected to the African Democratic Congress Party, the ADC. Mr. Rhodes Vivo, speaking at an event in Lagos to welcome him into the ADC fold, describes the ADC as the only party that can rescue Nigeria from the current challenges facing the country. According to him, the opposition must stand firm and be united to defeat the ruling APC at the 2027 general elections.
I'm joining the ADC, the coalition. It's a coalition that is meant to rescue Nigeria. And I've said it for the last 2 years after the 2023 elections, that we cannot afford to divide the opposition going into the next election. We must come together, we must be united. We must build a robust, strong coalition that will be able to stand a chance in 2027 to deliver and rescue Nigeria from these pirates that are taking over this country. People that refuse to give us good governance, but instead want to maintain power through thuggery, through violence and intimidation. And if we sit back and let this become the new normal, if we sit back and let this define what our politics is moving forward, the people will not have a voice. Your governments will not work for your interest. I'm happy to become part of this family. I'm looking forward to the union of the good governance that this party is going to bring to Nigerians. And my prayer is that God will grant our leaders and the party structure the wisdom to be able to come together to define a new path for our beloved country, Nigeria.
And we're not affirming one man, we are affirming a movement. But every movement has a leader. And what my brother, His Excellency Gwari represents is the leadership of a movement that shook Lagos in the last election. It is a spiritual assignment. God has handed Nigeria to us. We young people, God has handed Nigeria to us.
The former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, has declared the African Democratic Congress as emerging as a coalition to watch in Nigeria's political landscape. Mr. El-Rufai made the statement in Owerri, the Imo State capital, at the annual political summit organized by the Social Democratic Party in Imo State. He says the ADC is positioning itself as a party to beat in the ruling All Progressives Congress ahead of the next elections. Take a listen.
Upon arrival in Owerri, Imo State capital, the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, pays a courtesy visit on the traditional ruler of Nekede Ancient Kingdom, Stephen Agumanu. Afterwards, he proceeds to the venue of the main event, where members of the Social Democratic Party in Imo State and beyond gather for an annual political summit tagged Good Governance and Social Justice. Declaring the summit open, one of the top officials of the Social Democratic Party, Adamu Modibo, reaffirms the party's stance as the conscience of Nigerian democracy and highlights the need for equity, fairness, and people-oriented governance for Nigeria to thrive.
Our record speaks of courage in standing with masses, and today's gathering is another testament to our own commitment to nation building. The choice of today's theme is not only timely, but also necessary. Good governance is the bedrock of development, and social justice is the soul of peace and unity. Without two pillars, democracy cannot thrive.
On his part, the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, describes the ADC as a platform that has been adopted by the opposition parties to sack the APC government come 2027.
Nigeria is going down and down. It has never been this bad in my 65 years of being alive in this country. But this is not a conference of lamentations. This is a conference about the future. Our future is in our hands. We must register to vote. We must get everyone that is 16, 17 years of age now and above to register to vote. Because by 2027, they will be 18. The only power you have is your vote. It's the only thing you can use to kick out this government and replace it with something better.
former governor of Kaduna State believes that the coalition movement can work with other like-minded Nigerians to take the nation to a new height beginning from the 2027 election. And to make that possible, he appeals to the people of the Southeast to take the ongoing voter registration seriously so that they can be part of the change process come 2027. Ejitopakute, Channels Television News.
The national leadership of the Social Democratic Party have distanced itself from the political gathering in Owerri, describing it as illegal and the organizers as renegade members. In a statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Araba Ayendigba, the party warned members to disregard the conference, declaring it a ploy to confuse the public about its position on an alliance with the African Democratic Congress. The SDP have emphasized that Rufai was expelled and barred from the party for 30 years on July 28, 2025, and therefore has no mandate to speak for the party or negotiate any coalition. The statement also named former Gombe caretaker chairman Adamu Abubakar Modibo and 7 others as part of what it describes as dissidents, adding that they are facing legal action. And we see El Rufai's presence in the Owerri has also sparked street protests. Some youths gathered at the Osomta Cathedral venue at the annual Odenigo Lecture Series to protest against his invitation as a speaker. The protesters, carrying placards and chanting solidarity songs, described El Rufai as an enemy of the Igbo people. They accuse him of implementing policies during his tenure as Kaduna governor that led to the suffering and death of innocent Christians, insisting he had no moral right to be honored with a platform in the southeast. The group vowed to prevent him and his entourage from gaining access to the cathedral. And still in politics, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has inaugurated the 489-member ABGA 2025 Governorship Election Campaign Council at the party's regional headquarters in Awka, the state capital. Describing the members of the council as disciples, Governor Soludo tasked them to be intentional in their exercise to ensure sweeping victory at the polls. As the November 8th Anambra State governorship election draws near, the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has been enjoying massive solidarity from various communities, groups, and even party stakeholders to ensure victory at the polls. This time, stakeholders from Dunukofia local government area, led by the chairman, Akubudike Foundation, Jim Martin Zuwabweze, they stormed the Lighthouse Awka on a solidarity visit aimed at appreciating Governor Chukwuma Soludo's achievements and to drum support for his continued leadership. After a private meeting with the governor, the leader of the team supports the governor's re-election campaign with 5 branded vehicles.
I'm supporting the campaign of Soludo, the solution government, for his second term in office. And we pray that he's going to win and win even better in landslide in Jesus' name. Amen.
After the presentation of the vehicles, attention shifts to the regional headquarters of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, in Awka for the inauguration of the 489-2025 Governorship Campaign Council. As soon as the governor arrived, the secretary to the state government, Professor Solo Chukwulobelu, who is the Director General of the Campaign Council, and others affirmed that the team is an assemblage of a team that will lead the re-election bid of Governor Chukwuma Soludo with a united spirit.
We must march with one voice, one spirit, and one purpose to deliver a landslide victory for our dear Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, on the 8th of November.
This is our result. Come November 8th, all through the 21 local governments, 326 wards, 5,720 polling units. At the sound of the crow of the cock, we shall sweep over all the wards.
On his part, the national chairman of ABGA, Sly Ezeokenwa, gives assurances of surpassing the August 16th senatorial by-election feat in the November 8th governorship polls, just as the governor pays tributes to the founding fathers of ABGA as he rallies party members to be united to ensure the election is won at their polling units.
From the statistics of August 16, we are going to improve tremendously on that statistics. And we are going to assure you, Mr. Governor, that on November 8th, we are going to crushingly defeat all our enemies and adversaries in Jesus' name.
The campaign council made up of 4 very carefully chosen 489 members out of a population of about 8.5 million in the Anambra. And this being a state movement, being part of these 489 members of this campaign council, this is the chosen apostles. Okay?
Governor Soludo, having officially inaugurated the council to spearhead the 2025 governorship campaign, acknowledges his deputy, Dr. Onyeka Chukwu Ebezim, and says together they will coast to victory at the polls. And in part 2, after the break, economic activities pick up in Birnin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State after years of violent attacks orchestrated by bandits and terrorists. Stay with us. Just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting live from Lagos. A quick recap of our top stories. Participants at the Leadership Summit ask Nigerian leaders to put the people first and at the center of their decisions if the nation must develop. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo inaugurates ABGA's Governorship Campaign Council ahead of the November 8th election. A new Nigeria People's Party expels the lawmaker representing Kiru Bebeji constituency, Abdulmumin Jibrin, for alleged anti-party activities. And South Korea's government holds emergency meeting after citizens were detained in U.S. Hyundai raid. And in Kano, the state chapter of the new Nigeria People's Party have expelled the lawmaker representing Kiru Bebeji constituency in the House of Representatives, Abdulmumin Jibrin, over alleged anti-party activities. The decision comes days after Jibrin hinted that he might defect from the NNPP. While speaking at a press briefing in Kano on Saturday, the state chairman of the NNPP, Hashim Sulaiman Dugunrawa, said the lawmaker had repeatedly launched media attacks against the party and its leadership. He described Jibrin as a weak politician who owes his electoral success to the Kwankwasịa movement and the NNPP platform rather than personal influence. The NNPP chairman also accused Jibrin of defaulting in the payment of mandatory party dues, adding that the party will pursue legal action to recover the outstanding funds. According to him, will drag him to court to recover what he owes the party. It is a constitutional requirement for every member to pay dues, but he has consistently failed to do so. On speculations that Jibrin may return to the All Progressives Congress, Dugunrawa said such a move would not diminish the NNPP's strength, insisting that politics is about groups and coalitions, and the Kwankwasịa movement remains firmly behind its leader, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. To security matters, peace is gradually returning to Birnin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State after years of violent attacks orchestrated by bandits and terrorists. The non-kinetic peace model initiated by the Kaduna State government led to a ceasefire, which has resulted to the return of socio-economic activities in the area. However, the repentant bandits have laid down their arms, appealing for proper reintegration into their communities through the provision of basic amenities.
Over a decade, Birnin Gwari, located in the central senatorial district of Kaduna State, became the epicenter of banditry and kidnapping in the northwestern part of the country. Insecurity made many residents flee their homes. However, in the last 1 year, the situation has been changing following the peace model adopted by the Kaduna State government. The people are gradually returning to the ancestral home as farmers return to their farmlands. The markets are also back in business, attracting traders from neighboring states.
We are from Zamfara, and we are here in Kaduna. God has brought us here, and we are doing well in our businesses. We pray that this peace will get to everyone. I don't know who was giving any money, but we came from Zamfara to Kaduna, and we are prospering in our business.
The non-kinetic peace model initiated by the Kaduna State government led to a ceasefire in the area. However, the repented bandits have some concerns.
We are very grateful for this reconciliation process. We thank Governor Ubasani for the peace we enjoy today. God is peace. He is peace. For 12 years, we have been praying for this. Thank God today we have peace because of Governor Ubasani. Before now in Birnin, Gwari, we were thinking of how to feed our families, not to talk of our livestock. But today, the story is different.
The state government set up a committee led by the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Sani Kila, to review the peace process. The committee appears satisfied with the return of socio-economic activities to the area.
This is as a result of the giant stride put in by the governor of the state, distinguished Senator Ubasani, CON. The kinetic approach has been in place for years, but it could not yield a fruitful result. With advent of Governor Ubasani, who came in with non-kinetic approach, the result is overwhelming.
Our advice for them is let them come and join this very important program, which is non-kinetic approach for having peace here. As they can witness, we are having development and important activities together with our brothers that in the bush, who are the people that are suffering our community before.
As relative peace and security returns to Birnin Gwari, residents are hoping that a ceasefire will be backed with development and sustained engagement that will guarantee the security of the area.
And in reaction to the expulsion by the NNPP, we have a reaction there from Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin. In a statement titled, "My membership of the NNPP has come to an end," the lawmaker said the news came to him as a surprise and a rude shock. He further says that the content of the interview he granted a few days ago in English and Hausa should not warrant such heavy penalty because it is in tandem with the core principles of the party and movement, which allows for dissenting views overtly or covertly. While maintaining that he stands by all the comments made in the interviews, Honorable Jibrin noted that no invitation was extended to him by the party to defend or explain his stance contrary to the principle of fair hearing, due process and justice, which the NNPP demands from others. He, however, says that though he would love to stay in the NNPP and continue his service to the country, he would accept the decision of the party in good faith and without grudges. On the issue of non-payment of dues, he appealed to the party not to go to court, but to send the invoice to enable him promptly pay up. He also thanked the party for the support he enjoyed and welcomed his supporters who wished to join him to do while wishing those who chose to remain in the NNPP well. He concluded that he would carefully weigh all the options before him so as to decide on his next political home. And 16 years on, the crisis in Bay states of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe, northeast Nigeria, continues unabated with confirmed reports of resurgence in terrorist activities. Consequently, the region continues to face extensive humanitarian challenges, with an estimated 33 million people projected to experience food insecurity during the 2025 lean season, especially with the global cuts in humanitarian funding. In this report, our correspondent Kelly Agiga visited the government senior secondary school IDP camp in Bama and now reports.
The Bay states of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe have been grappling with a severe humanitarian crisis since the 2009 Boko Haram insurgency. 16 years after, the insurgency has led
to widespread displacement, food insecurity, and protection concerns. This is my third visit to Maiduguri, but never have I visited an IDP camp. Finally, we arrive at the government senior secondary school, Bama, which is the largest IDP camp. Scarred by the conflict in the region, Ina Ghana tells me how her first and second husband were adopted. Trond Jensen is the head of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Nigeria and is resident in the epicenter of the humanitarian crisis. He tells me he has witnessed over 15 crises, but says these numbers are terrifying.
The estimate. So we have what we call the cadre harmonisé, which is the food security assessment that we undertake every year with the government. And that stipulates that there are 31 million people who are food insecure in Nigeria, but it only covers 26 states, so it could be up to 40 million people who are food insecure. Even more alarmingly, there are 15 million children in Nigeria who are acutely malnourished. Now, if you come to the north, there are roughly 2.5 million children who are severely, acutely malnourished. And that means that if they get an infection, the immunity systems are compromised, and that means that that becomes then a life-threatening situation.
Next, we meet with Ahmad Usman Jaha. As a representative of the Damboa, Goza, and Chibok federal constituency, a region that has been severely affected by the Boko Haram insurgency.
Seriously worried, because I know what happened in the past. My local government was overrun in 2014. On the other hand, for me personally, I'm happy that the US have cut the funding so that our people cannot be over-relying on aid from donor agencies, UN agencies, INGOs, and other development agency bodies.
Nearly 31 million people are currently facing acute hunger. And that's according to data from the United Nations World Food Programme. That also demonstrates the scale of the humanitarian crisis in the northeast region. From Maiduguri, Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News. And still ahead on the news at 10, Saudi Arabia eyes future hike in OPEC crude oil output as 8 members of the oil producers cartel prepare to meet on Sunday. Join us again. Welcome back. Well, as part of efforts to enhance the criminal justice system and standardize the application of non-custodial sentencing across the country, the Lagos State Judiciary has launched a new practice direction described as long overdue. The initiative, developed in collaboration with the MacArthur Foundation, the Development and Advocacy Center, and Law Hub, was witnessed by key stakeholders in the criminal justice system, including judges, lawyers, representatives of the police, correctional centers, and civil society organizations. They all emphasize the importance of interagency collaboration and timely implementation of judgment. With a newly launched practice directions provides judges in Lagos with a clear framework for implementing non-custodial sentences effectively. Chief Judge of Lagos, Honorable Justice Kazim Alogban, the Senior Program Officer of the MacArthur Foundation, and others who spoke at the launch, all stressed the importance of uniformity in sentencing and the need for strict adherence to the new guidelines, which they say would serve as a major step towards ensuring fairness, reduce prison congestion, improve public perception of the judiciary, and make justice more responsive to societal needs.
Over time, we have all come to realize that it doesn't really make sense to confine people to just custody for having been in conflict with the law. Because in criminology, you have not just the penalty aspect of it, but also the reformative aspect of it. So when you do non-custodial sentencing, it goes more to reformative aspect of administration of criminal justice and rehabilitation of people who had come into conflict with the law. And maybe the truth underneath it again is that you can't have spaces for correctional facilities. Again, things are so costly, and then they're not just the four walls of old. Correctional facilities, so-called today, are like educational facilities. Not only detaining them there, keeping them in custody, you must provide for their rehabilitation so that they will come back into society as better persons.
The evolution of the criminal justice system and its procedures and its effective implementation requires that you have well-developed mechanisms and ways of implementation. And I think this practice direction is therefore a step towards such effective implementation. So I think that judges will significantly benefit from these directions, as well as practitioners, prosecutors, defense attorneys. The entire criminal justice system will have a guideline on how to go about some of the innovative provisions in the law.
And to education now, the federal government, through the Universal Basic Education Commission, in partnership with the Taraba State Universal Basic Education Board, have launched a statewide school enrollment campaign. The initiative seeks to boost enrollment in public schools, promote educational equity, and expand access to quality education for children across Taraba State.
Number of parents.
This enrollment campaign is an awareness strategy by the Taraba State Universal Basic Education Board and the Universal Basic Education Commission to ensure free and quality education for children, as well as encourage parents to enroll their children. The initiative aims to reduce the number of out-of-school children, ensure schools adhere to the new educational standards introduced as part of reforms in the basic education sector.
The government of the day is having it in mind to bring all these people because of the significance of education. That education is the bedrock of any progress and development. And without education, there is no way a nation can develop. We are here today to launch this thing officially so that as many that are in that category will be brought back to school.
The executive chairperson of the Taraba State Universal Basic Education Board highlights the essence of the initiative in view of the growing trend of children indulging in substance abuse, arms begging, thuggery, theft, and the need to change the narrative by closing the gap.
The main objective for today's ceremony on enrollment drive campaign is targeting reduction in the number of out-of-school children that we have in the state, and also to give every child the right to education for better future.
According to the UNICEF latest data, over 10 million children are out of school in Nigeria, and the Taraba State government says the enrollment campaign aligns perfectly with the state government's policy of free and compulsory education to reduce the number of out-of-school children. Ensuring the maintenance of standard infrastructure and quality educational delivery in Taraba State as it commences the building of 60 new schools to address dilapidated structures is paramount to the state government.
We gather today to flag off a crucial initiative, the 2024-2025 Enrollment Drive campaign. Our mission is clear: to identify and enroll out-of-school children, ensuring every child in Taraba State accesses quality education.
With the launch of the 2024-2025 school enrollment campaign, the state government is optimistic that schools will record a surge in enrollment as they prepare to resume.
And the federal government has upgraded the LGA Central Primary School in Wanune in Tarka local government area of Benue State into a digital literacy hub. Executive Secretary of UBEC, Aisha Garba, disclosed this during a visit led by the Secretary to the government of the Federation, Sir George Akume. The project includes renovation of classrooms, teachers' quarters, solar power, and a motorized borehole, and scholarships for local families.
Wanune, the headquarters of Tarka local government, wears an unusual fun face as the Secretary to the government of the Federation leads a federal government delegation to the community. In what looks like a roadshow, they are greeted by residents amidst cheers. They arrive and exchange pleasantries before taking their seats. They are in the community to inspect the newly renovated LGEA Central Primary School, Wanune, in the area. Welcoming the guests, the Education Secretary of Tarka local government makes some requests.
There are some little areas which needs attention, like the fence were built, but the barbed wires to prevent the criminals from intruding into the premises to vandalize some of the existing facilities.
The school was recently renovated by the Universal Basic Education Commission, and the Executive Secretary speaks on plans to do more.
We have heard you when you mentioned the staff, accommodation for staff, but we have also heard you about the security. I'm sure you must have seen by now that that has been addressed already by the pride of the nation.
The Secretary to the government of the Federation, who is the special guest of honor, appeals to the people to own and protect the school and guard against vandalism.
My charge to the community is that the protection of the facilities here does not just lie with the teachers or the students, but all of us. I have recruited, I've asked that 10 very nice young men be recruited to keep vigil here so as to stop the vandalization of facilities.
He also announces plan by the federal government to reconstruct the Makodi Boko Katsina Ala and the Boko Aliade Road projects. The delegation leaves the people with an assurance of improving the infrastructure as part of broader plan to improve access to education for all.
And 500 postgraduate students from Ogoniland are set to benefit from the 2025 HyPrep Scholarship Grant as the federal government intensifies efforts to build human capacity through education in the region. This was announced by HyPrep's management at a sensitization workshop with postgraduate students on Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama now reports.
Postgraduate students from the 4 Ogoni local government areas converge in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, for this sensitization workshop for postgraduate scholarship, which is in its second year. Last year, some 300 students benefited, but this year, the number has increased to 500. This workshop is to educate the participants on the commencement of applications for the scholarship by the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HyPrep, and the project coordinator, Professor Nenebari Nizabe, assures the participants that the scheme, which is for both master's and the PhD scholars, will be based on fairness and merit.
This grant is designed to support your research work and defray part of your study expenses in line with the commitment of HyPrep to creating alternative sources of livelihood as we continue to advance other goals of the project. The 2025 Postgraduate Scholarship Program reinforces that HyPrep is indeed a promise keeper. Year after year, we have demonstrated our commitment to investing in young people.
In his keynote address, Dr. Sobareko Lebura of the River State University describes the grant as a seed to be invested wisely in research and career growth.
The biggest secret to a new farming season is what you leave behind from the last farming season. The harvest of last season would somehow determine what your next harvest will be in the new season. So a seed could be the start of a great harvest if you manage it properly and understand that not every seed given to you is for eating. This scholarship is like a seed. It's an opportunity. Some got it last year, and I can bet you not everybody utilized it properly.
The managing director of ED Multilinks Consulting, Edward Barr, outlines the eligibility criteria and announces that the application portal on the HyPrep website will open on Friday, August 29 and close on September 12, 2025.
Know that if you are qualified, you will get it. We had testimonies last time. One made me cry. Was a young boy from Thai. He was doing his PhD program and at the period lost the mother and was not supposed to continue with the program again. And he wrote the exam and passed. And after the award, when the money was given, he chatted me back and was crying. He never believed he would go back for this program. He didn't see the money coming from anywhere.
The event drew participation from postgraduate students, senior HyPrep officials, and representatives of partner organizations. This has now opened the space for the online applications to commence. Deborah Amalama, Channels Television News.
And to health matters now, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohamed Ali Pate, says the National Health Fellows are demonstrating true leadership by taking ownership and solving real problems and making lasting impact in their communities. He made the remarks at a 6-month formative review of the program in Abuja. Professor Pate praised the fellows for going beyond administrative roles to become problem solvers and change agents in the health sector.
We will have a future of being fellows.
The sector-wide approach for the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative is hosting this formative review meeting to examine the 6-month performance of the National Health Fellows in Abuja. The National Health Fellows program brings together emerging professionals selected by the federal government to drive change and innovation in the nation's health sector. The Coordinating Minister of Health hailed the performance of the fellows for identifying challenges in their local communities and mobilizing solutions.
All of you are leaders and are exercising leadership. So long as you decide to act and to solve problems like you are already doing, then you are leading. But then as fellows, already you are on that path, just 6 months into your journey. So imagine what will happen 6 years down the path if you continue on this path.
Drawn from each of the 774 local government areas across the country, the professionals are drawn from various disciplines as the government hopes to nurture the next generation of health leaders.
I've seen a real evolution in their growth has been incredible. I just want to congratulate you again. Thank you for not letting down the president, for holding up the hope of the president and the nation, and to also let you know that we are here. We will continue to work with you. We will continue to support you, and you give us joy.
The manifestation of your aspirations to save lives, reduce physical and financial pain, and to produce health, and to do that for all Nigerians is really coming to life with the work of the health fellows. You have consistently highlighted their role in every single discussion. We have felt their energy all the way here.
The program, which is in alignment with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for health sector reform, is being coordinated through the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative.
All right, let's get a check on the world of business now. Willie Bong has the details.
Thank you, Ladi. Ahead of the meeting of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, OPEC Plus, set to hold virtually tomorrow, Sunday, the cartel's leader, Saudi Arabia, wants the group to consider increasing oil production. Key alliance members, including Nigeria, will hold a video conference on Sunday that will consider what to do with a 1.66 million barrels a day tranche of halted supplies, having just fast-tracked the return of a previous layer over the past 5 months. While extra oil would be boon for consumers and a win for U.S. President Donald Trump, it's a financial threat for producers from the U.S. shale industry to OPEC Plus members themselves. Saudi Arabia, which drove the accelerated restart in a bid to recapture global market share, wants to further boost production as it seeks to offset lower prices with higher volumes. Now checking on domestic gross foreign exchange market, which we've seen increasing for the 9th consecutive week, growing by $216.34 million week on week to $41.46 billion as of September the 2nd. The accretion, which is largely attributed to dollar supply from foreign portfolio investors seeking to participate in the upcoming open market operation OMO primary market auction, comes amid the $15 million intervention at the forex market this week by the central bank. Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves have so far maintained the $41 billion level, which is the highest in nearly 4 years after it hit that mark on the 19th of August 2025, according to figures published by the central bank. As a company report now, it's good news for Nigeria's pension fund market as Leadway Holdings says it has reached an agreement to acquire 100% of Power Pensions. The Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Leadway Holdings, Tunde Asanu-Dukale, who confirmed this today, says the deal will position the group as one of the top 3 pension fund administrators in Nigeria by assets under management. He added that Power Pensions will be merged with Leadway Pensure, the company's existing PFA, significantly expanding its scale and client base. Mr. Asanu-Dukale also mentioned that the integration process will be rolled out in the coming weeks, with further details to be communicated to stakeholders. Now, as part of efforts to fast-track approvals for Nigeria's insurance sector recapitalization, the Securities and Exchange Commission says it has created a dedicated desk, pledging to deliver decisions within 14 days of complete submissions. This was disclosed at the end of the 19th Insurance Committee meeting in Lagos. The move by the SEC is part of a broader collaboration with the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, to support a smooth and transparent recapitalization process. The announcement comes on the heels of the recently enacted Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act, NIRA 2025, signed into law by President Bola Tinubu, which includes sweeping reforms, most notably a significant increase in minimum capital requirements for insurers. And let's check in on the domestic equities market, which closed the week bearish, as the all-share index fell 0.94% to 138,980 points, with market cap at 87.94 trillion naira. Trading was mixed. Volume dropped to 3.12 billion shares across 118,000 deals, but the value of trades rose to 90.29 billion naira, reflecting interest in high-value stocks. Now, sector performance was broadly negative. Industrial goods led declines, followed by banking, consumer goods, oil and gas, and insurance. Top gainers were Sovereign Trust Insurance, Secure Electronic Technology, and Cornerstone Insurance. Top losers included Dow Communications, UPDC PLC, and ICO Insurance. The most traded stocks for the week were Sovereign Trust Insurance, Access Holdings, and Fidelity Bank. And that's business news. It's now over to Olumide Macaulay for highlights from the world of sports.
We begin with football, where Tolu Arokodare's goal in the 51st minute has given Nigeria a 1-0 lead in the World Cup qualifier against Rwanda. Now, the win in the keenly contested encounter keeps hope of reaching the World Cup alive for the Super Eagles. Forward Victor Osimhen was, however, injured in the game and had to be substituted. He's now a huge doubt for the next game. Super Eagles now occupy the 3rd position in Group C with about 10 points from 7 matches and will better their chances if they beat leaders South Africa Bafana on Tuesday.
see, sometimes it's difficult to talk about the quality of the game if we have referees like today. No, but I'm not going to take the merit of Super Eagles. We fight. It was a good game. I think we give for the supporter or spectator a good time.
I'm happy about the 3 points, how the team played in first half, because we had 70% of the possession ball. And because of that, Rwanda was tired, and this is why in second half they don't press us when we score the goal. So now we are happy because we won 1-0. I'm happy, only happy because we have the second game in 2 days.
And that's it on sports news. It's back to Ladi for the rest of the news at 10.
Thanks, Olumide. Now to stories outside our shores. Now, South Korea's government held an emergency meeting and vowed to swiftly respond to the arrest of hundreds of its citizens in a massive immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in the U.S. Seoul has dispatched diplomats to the site in Georgia, while LG Energy Solution, which operates the plant with Hyundai, said it was suspending most business trips to the U.S. U.S. officials detained 475 people, mostly South Korean nationals, who they said were found to be illegally working at a battery facility at one of the largest foreign investment projects in the state. The White House defended the operation, dismissing concerns that a raid could deter foreign investment. And Israeli militaries destroyed a high-rise block in Gaza City, the second major tower it was targeted in many days. Defense Minister Israel Katz posted a video of the building collapsing on X with the caption, "We're continuing." The Israel Defense Forces, which has been expanding operations in Gaza, said the Susi Tower was being used by Hamas, a claim denied by the militant group. It was not immediately clear whether there were any casualties. Ahead of the Saturday strike, Israel dropped leaflets repeating calls for Palestinians to relocate to what it calls a humanitarian zone in the south. In a social media post, IDF Arabic language spokesman Chide Mari urged the residents to join the thousands of people who have already gone to Al-Mawasi, an area between Khan Yunis and the coastline. The IDF has repeatedly encouraged civilians to move there, saying the medical care, water and food will be provided. Now to the headlines again. Participants at the Leadership Summit today asked Nigerian leaders to put the people first and at the center of their decisions if the nation must develop. And also today, the Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has inaugurated ABGA's Governorship Campaign Council ahead of the November 8th election. And that's it on the News at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.